What is going on, everyone? So weekly review for this week. It was a good week. It was a little slow. Took a couple of losses. Had some good trades. Had some really good uh, risk to rewards. So yeah, let's just jump into this and see how it goes from here. Let me share my screen. I'm tired. The gym kicked my butt today. All right. So let's start with Bitcoin. I'm actually going to switch over to this one. All right. So on Bitcoin, I took a trade. It was a 1-to-1 right here. Got in on it on Wednesday. Got in a decent spot. Saw a call out. I was like, hey, we'll take this one, see how it goes. Ended up getting out on this last candle on Thursday that was at news. Just had a good feeling about it. Looked at the economical side of it. In fact, let me do this to save confusion because somebody once told me my charts were messy. Uh, all right. So I did take a Bitcoin trade this week. Got out on it on Thursday. Pretty solid. Did not take any Ethereum trades this week. I didn't take a ton of trades this week. Gold, I had some really good ideas on gold. There was only one trade that was out there. It was on Tuesday. It was a super short trade. Let's put it that way because it was from 8:30 to 9:30. It spiked up, hit that. It was a nice little 3-to-1 ratio, so I was pretty happy with that. And then silver, I've been looking at silver more and more. I've got some friends who trade it, so I'm looking at it. Still looks a lot like gold, but just still being cautious about it because it's new and I haven't traded it often. US 30, there's only one trade that happened, and it was okay. Ended up getting out of break even, so had high hopes for it. It was a trade idea that came across from the team, or someone on the team anyway. So this was a trade idea that came out late Friday after all this happened. It's not in play currently because it broke down, hit the zone that we were looking at right here. But there's also a big order block down here. So I actually think this will come down and tag just below that, just right in this area here. And that's where I'll actually get in at if it comes down that low. So this was a trade I got sent out. I did not take it. And obviously it would have got stopped out anyway. So it's consolidating here, which is where I want it to be at. I would love for it to do a liquidity sweep down into this area and then pop back up. If it does, I'll jump in. If it goes from here and goes back up, then I'll miss it. I won't get in it at all. Nothing on SPX, nothing on oil. There was a trade idea that came out on oil. But that was no, I was not in on that one, but still I like to mark it up. Super solid idea came out on Sunday afternoon. It was, what weekly reviews look like or what's looking for that week. And this was the area that came down, tapped right into it, and then shot back up. So Anastasia killed that one. Euro USD, did not trade it. No GBP USD as well. USD JPY, didn't take anything on it. USD CAD. So there were two trades on USD CAD. This one came out, got in a little bit early on Tuesday as the market opened back up, and then managed to just smack. This was the biggest trade for the week. It just was a fantastic trade. And this was that news. Rode it all the way up to hit TP. Was very happy about it. Then I really actually expected it to drop back down again. But economically speaking, the dollar was just way too strong. And the Canadian dollar was just too weak. So I got in on a trade here, started off in profit, popped back up, and I got out at break even when it came back down. And that's typically what will happen if I'm in a trade and it goes up and then I see it come back down. If I don't like the way it feels, then I will get out of it. I'll try to get to break even, keep my losses to a minimum. And obviously, I'm glad I got out at break even because it ain't stopped yet. I do think next week is shaping up to be a monster of a week. Chef, I did not take anything. I had some friends who took some stuff on this week. They did really good with it. AUD, USD, nothing. NZD, USD. So this was another good pair for the week. Last week I had a good week on it, so I wasn't upset about it. Obviously, because I ended the week off strong. This was after news on Wednesday. This area, so this particular area here, is actually where there's a lot going on. Now, to be honest with you, the only downside of it is I knew this was a pullback because last week we were in a downtrend. It came up, boom, came back down, and then it just continued to move up. And then obviously, major U.S. news with inflation data and stuff like that pulled it down. Managed to ride it back up until Thursday, which news came up. News for this trade and for CAD were both fantastic. And this was really, really on it for me. And then outside of that, got out up top, and then we continue onward. GBP, JPY. Good Lord. So the two of this trade earlier this week, it was on Tuesday. It was a break-even trade. Was in profit. Was really expecting to drop down more. It did not pull back up. And then this would have been the ideal spot to get into it right before the news hit. And then on Thursday going into Friday, I got in on it. I was in profit. It was fantastic. I came back down, and I was like, and this is probably where I should have got out at the first time because it came all the way back down to my break-even point. I got back in it, and then I got back out on the second time it came back down before it decided to fall off the face of the earth, which is cool. And so what actually happened is when it came down, touched this, and then it rejected immediately off of it, which if you go to the 1 hour, it came down with this big monster candle and immediately bounced off of it. And which this whole area, if you look across the board, this area was an area that was previously a resistance zone. So I was hoping it was going to act as support. It did not pop back up. So after it made this move up, I changed my stop loss to break even and ended up getting taken out at break even. So it was fun. Not a big deal. Nothing on GBP NZD. GBP CAD did not take anything. GBP AUD, nothing. Euro GBP, nothing. So the pairs against the yen, which would be this one and then euro, were two pairs that were really active this week. Was expecting to do more, but obviously, as the euro had news this week and it was not great news for them, it really just did not overall do well. So didn't take a ton of trades. As you go across the board, you'll see that, but it's okay not taking a ton of trades this week. It was just a week that was not made for me. I had some really good trades. I did take some losses or small losses, which we're coming up on in just a minute. This was a pair that Canadian JPY. So I was actually in this trade last week, if you remember, and then or the previous week. And I started, and this was the end of the week, and it came in through, and then I was a negative. I still felt good about it. So as it came back up, it dropped back down again. So I got out just at a very small profit. It just didn't like the way it was moving. Obviously, I don't like trades. I tell you, I don't like to stay in trades overnight over the weekend, but it just happened to be in that one. Nothing for Jeff. Nothing for that one. NZD, JPP, JPY. I can't talk today. Jim wore me out. So not a ton of trades. Like I said, the real ones, most of them were on break even, and I'll take a break even over a loss anyway. And even if you think about it, even if I had not broken even, I had some small, super small gains. This is just blah. But USD, that was a win. That was a 3-1. And then the CAD USD, that was another one. That was a win on this one. And then a break even on that one. So both of those two trades were the two pairs I really played a lot with. I mean, obviously I took one trade here and tried to take another trade there. It didn't work out so well. NZD USD was a solid trade for this week. And last week it was a good pair to trade. So with that being said, I am expecting this upcoming week to be there's a BTC one too, but it was a small one. It was like a 1-1. So overall, I'm not real bad about got money from it. So that's all that really matters. And one of the things I think that's important to talk about is with a lot of trading, I don't talk about dollar amounts that I make on purpose because it's not fair to say, you can expect to make X amount of dollars. what I like to consider when I trade, I look at it as a percentage win game, because percentages matter when you're doing your risk to reward. So in other words, if you get into this trade here, so let's just use this one as a for instance. When I set my stop loss on a trade, I decide what I want my risk to be. So if I'm in Batch Trader and I'm putting in this right here, this is where I'm entering at, and this is my stop loss. Whatever this distance is here, it could be 5 pips, it could be 10 pips. It doesn't matter how many pips it is. Like, that's not what I'm focused on. Whatever my risk is inside of that, I change my lot size to match the dollar amount I'm willing to risk. So, for instance, if you have a $100,000 account and you're risking 0.5%, that's $500. Now, $500 seems like a lot, but it's only 0.5%. So if I'm doing a 0.5% risk here, then I know what my loss is going to be. And I know what my win is going to be if I'm a 1-to-1. So when I go in this, it doesn't matter what size my account is. It decides if you were to take that trade and you risk 0.5% to gain a 0.5% or to gain 1%, then you know what you would have made based on your account size. And that's the same thing. Whatever my stop loss is inside this, if this was a 1% trade and it was a 1-to-1, great. I risked 1%, I gained 1%. And then when you look at trades like USD CAD, this was a massive 6-to-1%. So it's the same thing. I was in it. I changed. This was my stop loss area, so we risked 0.5% on it, and then you end up gaining 6%. You did just fine with that one. Same thing. I would risk 0.5% for that one. That actually was not where that was at. I think it was there at that one. Yeah, because I gave myself plenty of wiggle room inside because it was just a pair that was moving. So I don't talk about dollars because I don't think the dollars are really that important. I talk more about percentage gains because percentages are universal to whoever is trading, right? If you risk 0.5%, if it's a $500 account or if it's a $1 million account, 0.5% is 0.5%. The dollars only change because you have a larger account. And that's how I've always looked at it. Instead of trying to say, I'm going to make $1,000, I'm going to try to win 3% for the week, because as your account balance grows, you obviously do more and more, and you do better with that one. And okay, for instance, I'm going to stop sharing the screen for a second, and I'm actually going to switch over to this screen, and I'm going to share a different one to kind of give you an idea and showcase why this matters. We have a template plan that it's free, and if you want it, just yell at me. But the reason this is important because this is all based on percentages. Like, it has dollar amounts tied to it, but everything is a percentage of gains. So like all the formulas are based off a percent that you're trying to win. So if you started with like a $500 balance, you had a daily goal of $10. That tells you what the percent of growth is. And we have it for a 10% comp plan. If you want to try to gain 20% of a compound plan, there's people that have, very audacious goals of a 50% comp plan. And you can do that. But really what's important about this is that, if you're trying to gain a 20% goal and you're doing a 1-to-1 risk, that means your risk is also $20 for the day. And it kind of helps you manage the expectations of, like, we're looking at dollars here, but all of these dollars are based on a formula of a percentage gain. So this is, a 20% return on that. And that's what really makes a big difference in is the dollars come, but you're playing it as a risk of a percentage gains. And that's how you really focus on not the money, but you focus instead on the ability to grow your account over time. So I think it's just one of the important things to talk about is that I don't talk dollars, and it's not because my account size is different than your account size. And so when you're doing that, focusing on instead the ability to grow percentage just makes way more sense, because you can say, I had a 4% gain this week, or I had 10% gain. It just depends on what you're doing. But, trading to win dollars is really, really complicated because it's just not as advantageous. It hurts a lot more when you're like, I lost $1,000 today. Well, that could be 1% of an account, and that's not a lot. Right. So just one of the things to kind of keep in mind with it. But overall, I wasn't upset with this week at all. I am really, really interested to see what happens with next week. Next week's really shaping up to be a really interesting week because I think USD pairs we're gonna have some pullbacks from the news and everything that happened on Friday. And I think that it's going to be some good pullbacks, and it's going to just continue strength across it. Obviously, there's some economic stuff going on in the Middle East with the war and all that too. So it'll be a cautious trading week, but get out there and do it, guys. If you know your risk to reward management, you're only risking 0.5% on a trade. Don't be upset about it because you can lose. How many trades you have to lose before it really hurts. So anyway, that's it for this week. It was a pretty good week. I'm not upset with it. I had some really good rewards on some trades that I was okay with. I mean, I got my percentages in this week, and gonna do it again next week. So we'll talk to you soon.